Good morning,
Good afternoon.
good evening, wherever you are on this most amazing planet of ours. I'm Ariel.
I'm Shia.
That was easy.
That was easy.
It was, wasn't it?
Where are we going from here?
Well,
Do you want to talk about listening? We haven't talked about listening in forever.
yeah, at least a week.
That feels like forever.
It is. It's fast. Life
I mean,
goes fast.
got a lot of moments of now go on from
Okay.
one week to another.
I have a question.
Yes, dear.
What about listening would you like to talk about?
Well, listening is something that very few people actually do.
You are a listener to the show. I bet a bunch of you rebutted it in your mind, or I heard it before, or not very many people. You agreed or disagreed. Let's just hear the information that Shia said, true, not true.
Well, most of us don't listen. We think about what's being said and we compare it to what we already know or believe to be true. And if it fits in with what you know, then you say yes. And if it doesn't, you say no. But you don't actually hear what another person has to say from their point of view without being critical, without judging it. Now, why I say that is I really don't care whether you understand what I have to say. You don't have to understand it to have it have a profound effect on the quality of your experience of life. But usually people think they already know what you're saying. And so they don't really hear it. They hear what they already know. And of course, we keep on repeating the same thoughts all the time. So we think we know everything. The truth of the matter is we know very little. In any event, listening is about hearing what another person has to say newly, as though you don't know it. And it's something that you allow to be exactly as it is. Something that you hear as though for the very first time without passing it through what you already know to see if you agree or disagree. So if you do that, it will pull you. You will be pulled by your listening into the current moment of your life. That's all it takes to have your life transform, was to get into sync with your life. But most of us are thinking about our lives, so we're behind the moment. The moment happens and you have a conversation with yourself about it rather than experience it.
I have a feeling where a lot of people get stuck in the whole listening conversation, or just in listening in general, is the misconception that listening is a passive act. I found while listening to you that it was a harnessing of my attention. It was an active harnessing of my attention to be here for your words. My mind as a starting place is often scattered. I mean, we're getting ready to do time and transformational time and project management. So whenever we prepare to do a weekend seminar, it becomes a bit of a framework for things that I'm working on in the office, but in general,
for our lives.
And I notice how fast my mind is, and how you can say a word and it doesn't necessarily trigger thoughts, but sometimes I believe scattered thoughts are saving me from the domination of the moment, from
the domination of hearing what I have to say.
Yes, in this case, in what Shia has to say. In a moment, we'll have a guest in what she has to say or what I have to say. I don't find it personal to anybody, yet at the same time, I find for myself, I really need to relax into listening to what Shia has to say, because when I do, I find it profound, even on just a daily day-to-day level. Your entire life can be a profound experience if you're here for it.
But no two things can occupy you at the same time. So your thoughts can occupy you, or your experience can occupy you.
I have to say, my thoughts in general lead to stress and misery.
Absolutely.
Being
because-
here is
because
the
your-
relief of that.
Your thoughts are repeats, you see. For the most part, your thoughts are repeats of yesterday's thoughts, the day before that thoughts. That's why it seems as though you can't transform, because you get locked in the same thoughts. You think, well, this is the same old, you know?
Let's take our first guest.
Yes, please.
Hi, Christine. Welcome to being here. Tell people where you're zooming in from.
Hi, Ariel. Hi, Shaya. I'm zooming in from a village called Schkuhl in Switzerland.
Say the village again.
Schkuhl. Scuol.
School.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Your introduction was very nice.
Thank you.
All the talking about listening. And so I don't have really a question for today, but yesterday I went with my partner in the mountains. I'm living in the mountains, and we went downhill biking with the mountain bike, which he's doing since quite a long time, and I just started. And about kind of having it easy, it was really, really interesting and nice to see, because there were moments where I, in the beginning, felt a bit tense and nervous because I was a little bit afraid of going all the way down, and kind of things on my mind, what could happen if I fall. And during the day, it went easier, and my internal chatting was going a bit quiet. And I could really see these moments where a thought was coming and something was not working anymore. So it was becoming difficult and not easy.
Yeah.
I love when you say that, because that is such a graphic example of what Shaya was talking about a moment ago when he said no two things can occupy you at the same time. You're either in the experience of riding your bike and what the terrain is ahead, whether it's on a road or on a trail.
Yes.
Or you're talking to yourself about something which diverts your attention from.
Well, Ariel
Your
always
bike.
knows when I'm thinking when I'm driving the car.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Because as
Sorry.
soon as I follow a thought, the car gets erratic.
What
It-
is erratic?
Erratic, one side or the other. It is in the
It's
middle
not
of the road
steady,
anymore.
it kind of wobbles.
Mhm.
And if he gets caught by
Something visual.
the car wanders in the direction of the visual. And it's not far, and it's not unsafe. It's just, I can feel the shift of his attention that is followed by the trajectory of the car.
Yeah.
And that's why it's really dangerous when you're mountain biking to think
Yes.
you should be right where you are. So you are
Yeah.
on the terrain you're on before you go
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I just love, because I'm also at work. I work, since I'm here in Switzerland, I work in a restaurant and guest house, and I waiter there. And sometimes when it's not so busy, I don't take notes about the order. So I just listen and try, keep it or don't keep it on my mind. And sometimes I listen to the people, they say something, I turn and it's gone. And I'm always like wondering, okay, what happened in that moment?
It's the same thing with people's names. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
It's really there. You hear their name and you retain it. And if you're lost in a thought, then their name disappears somewhere in your brain. I don't know where it goes, but your being there retains it, and your following thoughts takes you away.
Mhm.
You haven't noticed the difference between when you're actually listening and when you're doing listening.
I haven't. No.
No. If you can turn away and it's gone,
Mhm.
You were just doing listening. You weren't actually listening.
Okay.
and when it's gone, do you turn around and say, wow, could you just repeat your order, make sure I have it right? Or do you try to
Yeah.
pretend that you have it?
No. I go back and say I'm sorry, but it's gone. I don't remember what you said. So, and then I would ask again. So I don't mind doing
But
that. Yeah.
that's smart.
I
Otherwise, they get the wrong thing, or they'd not be happy.
I was listening
No.
to every once in a while I have an interest in cognitive abilities. I think my interest skewed there because my father had dementia, and it was such a long process
Mhm.
that he had it, and watching.
So she's afraid that she'll have dementia someday because
Yeah.
of inherited.
There is some concern about it. So there's, the potential for what you can do to take care of yourself and how to recognize it. And a lot of people are afraid, oh gosh, I forget things right away. What they've discovered is that if you forget things right away, it's because you never created a memory in the first place. You weren't actually there paying attention. You were doing something else.
Well, look, Christine,
Hmm.
we're always doing something else.
We're multitaskers in our mind.
We're always involved in thoughts. So you have to disengage from the thoughts you're engaged in to hear what somebody actually says to you. So if you're taking an order in the restaurant, if you're thinking about something your boyfriend said, or
Yeah.
a disagreement you had with him,
Yes.
then you're not there to receive their order. You're in that thought. Now, they may be speaking, and you may go and listen to them,
Mhm.
but you may be coming a little late on their conversation. So you don't have the full thing.
Yeah.
Then you're having a conversation with yourself of what they said in the first place, which clouds it even further. So if you want to, when Ariel's working and I want to speak to her, I get her attention. So she disengages from the computer.
Mhm.
She turns towards me, and then she can perhaps listen
Mhm.
because she's
I'm totally capable of looking at him and not being here.
because she's continuing
Yeah.
what she had prior to our conversation starting.
Yeah.
I started with listening because, see, usually we're so busy in our thoughts about whatever.
Well, I have a observation or a idea about yesterday's mountain biking ride. You were nervous at the beginning, and the way you laid it out is he's very experienced. He's done it for some time,
Yes.
and I knew it. So on some level, you didn't own it like you were taking him on a mountain bike ride.
Uh-huh.
He was taking you, and you had
Yes.
some foot on the brake, or
Yes.
in this case,
Yeah, on the brake.
Yeah.
Well, the hand on the brake.
hand on the brake in this case. But I imagine you didn't fully say, look, I'm nervous that will go faster than I'm capable of doing. So that he pay attention. So you had that between you and navigating the bike in the beginning. And
Well, you can look at it through our fly fishing. When we go fly fishing, that's what we do. And Ariel is an expert fly fisherman,
I am
except she doesn't think so.
at times until recently.
Until recently. We went for 10 days, and she was great over those 10 days.
Well, down at the world record wall yesterday, looking at
We
my
have a,
world
we have a, we have
records.
a wall that has all
Yeah.
these world records that
And I
she's
think the
Well,
first
her-
one I got was in something like 1999, or I see ones from 2001, 2003, 2006. I was catching the largest of some of the most difficult species that a woman had ever caught in the world. And some of those are records that still hold. But my mind still entertained the idea
that you're a
that I'm a
beginner.
novice.
Mm. It's so crazy. I find it so
But this is
a
very
little bit crazy that our mind does that. I mean, you have all the proofs,
yes.
but still, no.
What were you going to say?
Well, this is the difference between change and transformation. See, change takes place over time where you get better incrementally. Takes you a long time to really become an expert.
Or experience
Downhill.
yourself as an expert too. Downhill.
Downhill bicycle ride,
Mm.
for instance. Transformation is a shift that takes an instant, not over time, in an instant, in an Augenblick,
Yeah.
the blink of an eye.
Well, you said something, it's interesting that you have all the proof in our minds. Your mind still works that way, or our minds works that way. Of course they do. That is all part of change. That's what Shai is talking about. You cannot prove to yourself enough to
That you're
satisfy
good.
your mind.
Right, because no matter how good you are, it always reverts back to you're not good enough.
And then
And you need to get
Sorry.
better. What?
I wanted to say also yesterday in the beginning, I when we left the house, because the trail starts right next to our house, I said like I really need some time because I feel like I'm a bit blocked. And then later it got better, and then there were some other people in the trail. And this comparison thing started, and I said, okay, no, I can't ride in front of them. They have to go first, and then we go, because otherwise. And I was so like, everything was bumpy, and it was hard. And then after, I could really see like a little release, and there was not. I was
Christine,
more in the moment, and it
Christine.
was working better. Yes.
You identify with your thoughts. You think you're your thoughts.
Mm.
And,
So
and we didn't get to the third principle of instantaneous transformation. So you have these thoughts, and
well, the first principle is that anything you resist gets stronger.
so you're feeling tight, you're feeling blocked, you don't want it, you judge it,
Yeah.
it's bad, you want to work your way through it. Anything that you're working on keeps it in place.
Mm.
Second principle, you show up exactly as you do. So you're at the beginning of the
That's the only way you could have shown up.
third principle is not about feeling better, releasing.
Fixing anything. It's really about allowing yourself to be exactly as you are.
Mm.
So if you are nervous about your downhill bicycle adventure, then
Yeah.
let yourself feel your nervousness. And then it can complete it.
Mm.
But you're not really in your moment when you're resisting something. That's
Mhm.
it in place.
The other thing is you're painting it all with one brush. I think it's very smart to let somebody who is more comfortable and likely has an urge to go faster to go ahead of you on the trail. It's
Yes.
less about,
Yes.
for me, it's less about comparing and more about recognizing I don't want the energy of that pushing me.
Mhm.
I do that on walks. I do
We
that.
do that when we're driving
Driving a
our car.
car.
If somebody
Mhm.
in a hurry to get somewhere, I get out of their way and let them go.
Mhm.
It's
Yes.
very easier. One other thing. I know it's your version of saying my boyfriend is, or my man is my partner.
Sorry, can you, because my internet was for a moment gone.
Just the last thing. I know that when you say
My partner.
my partner,
Yes.
it's pure
Way of saying,
saying my boyfriend, my man, it's my
Uh-huh.
but it always jumps out at me because somehow when you talk about this adventure, I don't necessarily see you paying attention to partner him.
What do you mean by that?
working together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
I would be willing to bet just about everything I have.
Oh, go ahead.
Everything I have. You have a complaint running in your head about how he's doing it, and he should slow down so you can keep up.
Mm,
I'll tell you how it came through for me, and it's totally fine if I'm inaccurate, but when you say to him, I have to stop for a minute, I'm blocked,
yes.
he does not have permission to say, you don't have to stop, we can do this, let's go.
Actually,
when
I
you
was.
say no,
Huh?
when you say no,
He can't challenge it.
he is not allowed to challenge it, or you will get upset with him, and he has consequences to deal with for days.
when he says no to what?
When you say no,
Mm-hmm.
no, he can't challenge you.
He can challenge me.
You cannot say, of course you can.
I mean, he does that. He says, of course you can. But then I get in this
Mood.
poor me mood.
That's
thing.
right. And you
Yes.
train him not to do that anymore by getting upset.
Yes.
That's what I mean by partner.
Uh-huh.
I can challenge Shia and he can challenge me.
Uh-huh.
One or the other of us pulls a pity party, we know that we're off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, the challenger is not off.
The pity party.
The pity partier is.
Yeah. I can. Yes.
I'm not saying
Well,
that,
look,
that you shouldn't say no and he shouldn't respect your no. People can misinterpret everything we've just said, but I am talking about.
well, I want to talk
Partnership.
about our last fishing trip where you actually listened to me.
Yes.
Where, see, for many years, we've been fly fishing, maybe 33 years that we've been fly fishing. And Ariel trained me initially not to try to correct her casting. So I would let the fly fishing guides tell her how to do it, but she wouldn't listen to me. So I knew she wouldn't listen. But over the years, we've gotten more in sync, and she listens when I speak with her, when she does. And she doesn't when she doesn't. But most of the time, she actually listens.
Yeah.
So we were casting very big flies for very big fish, and you had to cast it a very long distance. And the way you make a cast with a fly rod is you make a back cast to be able to load the rod to make a forward cast. But to get line out, you have to let line fly out going back and fly out going forward before you even cast. So you get 30 or 40 feet of line out there. Well, she said, I can't seem to get the line to go out. So I told her what to do, and she did it. And suddenly, instantaneously, her casting became expert, really expert, long distance, accurate casts all the time, one after another, because she heard what I said rather than got defensive.
Yeah.
And said,
At his.
Yeah.
Coaching.
I like
Yeah.
that.
I say you get defensive at your boyfriend's coaching.
No, but actually,
That's a yes. But
you know what? He is usually when we either winter snowboarding or playing instrument or something. He says, "Listen to me. Why don't you do what I'm telling you?" And when I do so, usually it works. So
that's exactly what I said.
yes.
We didn't have a conversation about your snowboarding.
Yeah, you just said it and you said, no, it's like this, just so you know. It's been an interesting conversation. First of all, I've really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed having you on. I love that you have a lot of big questions.
You're great. And
Thank you.
we really like you. So don't think because I challenge you, it's not
Yes.
don't like you. I like you, but I see the mechanical behaviors that you've learned growing up in the family you grew up in, where your mom did not listen to your dad. And they fought a bit about it.
Yeah.
They fought a bit, okay? And sometimes the fighting was silent.
Yes.
And that's where you learn to relate to men.
I think
it's great. I mean, it's no, I'm just there are moments where I see this not listening and not wanting to do what Jackie's telling me, and there's other moments where it doesn't work. Sometimes I'm just thankful to have this conversation. And
well, really, Matt, the interesting thing, this conversation can have an amazing impact on the quality of your relationship because you can remind yourself to listen to him.
Yeah.
You don't have to be threatened by what he says. You could actually
start with waitressing, though. You don't know those people. Never meet them again. But in order to get an order accurately, you have to be willing to be dominated by them. They're going to tell you what they want you to do. And if you want to produce what they're requesting, you have to do it. And you have to do it the way they say.
Yes.
It's a form of domination.
And
I never saw it this way. That's very interesting.
It's a way of training yourself to listen. And you can put that same skill set in place with your boyfriend so you have harmony rather than disharmony.
And you can do it whilst taking your order written or whilst taking it with your eyes and listening. Still about looking to see how you want to embellish on or do differently than what they requested because you do not like to be dominated.
And you don't like to be told what to do.
Okay, I'll pay attention to it.
Good.
Yeah, it's not. Just last thing about this job. You may know before some years ago, I was doing graphic design and we were self-employed, and then I slid in this waitress job, and there were times where I was like, "Oh, come on, I have to find something better." And the more I do it, the more I love it because it's so simple and there's all these little nuances where I can learn about myself and my behavior with people and all these things going on while I'm with the guest. So I really appreciate having this job now.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Good for you.
Hey, thanks for being with us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. It was ours.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Now it's your turn. Let's hear what one of you listeners has to say about being here in the transformation community.
This is Dave. I'm in Winnipeg in Canada. The transformation community, the podcasts, every time I connect in is a point to connect in with myself, to calm, relax myself, and realize that I have the resources to step into my life and be successful.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel & Shire's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We have Living Made Easy 2-hour virtual seminars on Mondays, Saturdays, and at least one Tuesday a month. You can check the website and register. You can come to any one virtual seminar you like, come as often as you like. This weekend, okay, ready, procrastinators? This weekend is our transformational time and project management course. It's virtual. It's not too late to join us. Or if your schedule just happened to have cleared up and you can now make it, you can go on our website.
Transformationmadeeasy.com.
And register today.
Right.
If you're ready for an in-person adventure, we are coming to Hamburg, Germany soon.
And we're going to be doing the Freedom to Breathe and the Art of Being Happy. Whoa, happy.
I like it.
You know what? It's interesting. You can't buy happiness.
Nope.
Doesn't matter how much money you have or how much wealth you have. If you're not happy, the money doesn't make you happy. But if you are, and I'm not against having money because it's very convenient to do the things you like to do. But if you're happy and have well-being in your life, you're wealthy.
You know, I was born, raised in a very frugal culture, and I appreciate.
You mean household?
Household, yes.
Yes.
And also the culture I grew up in general around. It was a farming community. People
Yes.
worked hard and saved money and did things. And I find I have to pay attention to the part of me that thinks I don't deserve the things, like the experiences, such as the Art of Being Happy course. Now, obviously, we're doing it, we're getting paid for it, but I see that there are people who want to come and somehow they kid themselves that they don't deserve it or they're not worth it. I'm just challenging that for people. If it's not for you, don't come.
We don't want people who don't want to be there.
And we don't want to stress anybody in any way, not
Right.
even financially. You just don't want to. However, there's also telling yourself the truth about what you want to do and what you're capable of. And I'm encouraging you to come to the Living Made Easies or come to the seminars that are longer in nature, both in person and virtual, if it's something you desire, because you deserve it.
So look, the Art of Being Happy is on October 31st. And
No, that's that Freedom to Breathe, October 30th.
Freedom to Breathe. The Art of Being Happy is the 1st to the 3rd of November.
And you're invited.
There you go.
You can find out more at transformationmadeeasy.com.
That's true. And the weekend fulfills the prerequisite if you want to come to Costa Rica with us.
In January.
We go there in January when it's cold in most of the northern hemisphere.
All right, let's take our next guest, who's also in the northern hemisphere.
Yes.
All right, Maren, welcome to being here. Where are you zooming in from?
Hi, I'm Maren, zooming in from Loma, which is close to Cologne in Germany.
Uh-huh.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice having you with us.
Thanks. I had a totally different thing to talk about, but listening to your conversation with Christine, I just saw something. She talked about downhill mountain biking, which is something my younger son and his dad love. And I used to not really listen when my son came home and they had fun and talking about it, because my idea was that if you're going biking, if you're going exercising, that'll be uphill, not downhill, and then taking a lift to get up again. I just noticed how much I've been resisting to just see that they're having fun. And I also just saw that it's probably because I feel left out. Just, wow.
That's very possible. The other thing is this. Are you divorced from his father?
I'm very happily separated. We're good friends.
But, okay, gotcha. So you're not together, whether it's divorce.
No.
it's whatever.
Yeah.
Well, you may be good friends, but you have better friends.
Yeah, I want to be the better parent.
There you go.
Yeah, of course I do.
So you're in competition with this person.
Yeah.
And so if they go off and have fun together, then somehow you're not as good.
You know, I'm really clear. Not that I've done downhill
Biking.
mountain biking, but I also know that anytime you get on a bike for any reason and balance, you are activating core muscles like crazy. And if you're in a downhill, just managing it, even if you're not pumping your legs to do the stress of going uphill, which for me sounds particularly unappealing, there's exercise involved. And I love that you found how much you're picking on them in your thoughts for totally self-serving reasons. And I also like that as you're talking to us about it, you're smiling. Anything you see without judging, look at that. I feel like, look at that. I want to be the better parent, or I don't want to listen to what a good time you had with his dad.
You see, it frees you.
It does.
It does. When you see that you're doing something for selfish reasons and you don't judge yourself for it. That's the critical thing. If you see it and judge yourself, well, then you're not going to do yourself very much favor. But if you see it and you don't judge yourself, it's over. It's in the seeing of it, you're no longer doing the judgment.
The other thing too is it gives you options. You could say, hey, maybe you'll take me one time and show and you guys can teach me how to have fun with you.
Yeah. It won't be downhill mountain biking. It's an awful stress on the shoulders. And I think it used to help me keep a complaint in place with osteoarthritis in my arms and hands and shoulders. So I can't do this. You know, I'm a poor sick person and you're having fun without me. Yeah, and actually what's really interesting is that it basically mirrors what's happening at my parents every time I'm there with my older son as well. My older son, he's 21, and my dad and my older son, they are great fans of fishing. They always go fishing together. They have done so when my oldest son was very little. It was 4 years old or so. It's their great hobby. It's, you know, something that cuts everybody else off. You know, they're concentrating on preparing the fishing gear. And my mom, after a few days, or nights rather, they usually go fishing in the evening, she gets angry and upset. And she says that she's worried about my dad, who's 81, and who shouldn't come back so late, who needs his sleep. My younger son figured out that actually my dad and my mom stay up until 11 anyway, watching the telly. And I feel very much with my mom. I know she's worried about my dad, and she can't find a way to say it that way. So she keeps resisting. Maybe she feels left out. I think she does.
To what you first said, that fishing cuts everybody else out. I don't see that as true. I see them investing in their passion, and I don't believe you or your mom have an interest in their passion, because if you did,
they'd take you along,
or they'd help you prepare the gear. You'd help them prepare the gear. Or Shia ties fishing flies. I have zero desire to tie fishing flies. However, it never ever cuts me out, because I am actively interested in anything he does. And it often shocks him when he's talking about a material and he's kind of pulling on his mental locker for what's the name of that, and I will come up with it. Or he'll be describing a fly and I can follow or have a partnered conversation because I've listened in the past and I have an active interest.
But if you're interested in proving them wrong for whatever they do, you'll be right about it and they'll be wrong, and there's no partnership. There's no partnership.
You know, it's interesting. Your father's 81, Shai's 83. One of the things that keeps him young is going fishing.
Yeah.
Your father being active is, and having a passion for something is an access way to health.
And you don't want to kill that passion because you'll kill him with it.
I do see that your mom could likely use either company or to discover other passions for herself.
You know, we were once in Siena, Italy. We were there visiting a friend, and this friend asked me to do some body work, physical work on an old man there who was not doing very well. So I did. And when I worked on him, he got younger. He got off the massage table and he jumped up and down. He was so excited about being alive. And his wife and daughter said, "You're being stupid, old man. You're not a child anymore. Stop jumping around.
Sit down and watch TV."
And he went right back to the way he was before I worked on him. He got off the table. He was flying. You know, people work on you to keep you the way you were so they feel comfortable. You know, your mother feels more comfortable making sure your father doesn't go out and go hurting himself somewhere.
Yeah.
So more of her critique is to keep him safe rather than to encourage his greatness.
We have a mantra before Shai goes out to fish. And yeah, I don't know how we came up with it. It's in descending order of importance. And it's a great way for us to connect before he goes out. And I generally say, be safe. That's not be careful, safe.
Have fun.
Catch fish. Sometimes he comes back, didn't see a fish at all. Sometimes, but it's not about that. It's about having fun, and being safety is first. Having fun is right in there, and then you'll catch fish or you won't.
Yeah. I've always seen and felt how much fun they had, how much passion, and how proud they were when they came home with fish. I just don't know what to, you know, I've been repeating the same things over again to my mom. I just don't know what to say anymore. I understand her upset, or just the fact that she just can't express what it's really about.
And something that you're not already demonstrating.
I like that.
I would stop looking at her and start
stop
looking
working
at
on
you.
our first book, working on yourself doesn't work. Working on yourself doesn't work. Working on your relationship doesn't work. Noticing how you're doing things does work. If you don't judge yourself for what you see.
Yes, my dad descended further and further into dementia. My mom felt really abandoned and alone, and her most precious memories, the person she shared them with, he no longer recalled having done any of those things, and it was quite a challenge for her. And I found that I could either listen to what she had to say as if it was a complaint, I could endorse it or refute it, like say no, or say, yeah, you're right, it's really sad.
Which isn't listening, by the way. Remember we started this show talking about listening?
Or I could hear what she had to say from her perspective. And when I really heard it, I was always capable at that point of noticing when she was ready to move on. And we would watch television shows together, or I'd talk about whatever was happening in her day, whether I was with her or not. It really was about listening rather than trying to make her be happier so I felt comfortable.
I feel kind of guilty because I keep defending my dad and son, and I'm not listening to my mom. Yeah.
Well, maybe you're fighting
Yeah.
because you see, your dad and your son don't need defending.
I
They're
remember,
just doing what they're doing.
I remember a course Shai and I did in Cambridge, England. I think it was the first course we did. And we had a gal there who was fighting with her husband. And it was so apparent. We said, you know, you're fighting with your husband. She's like, no, I don't. I don't fight. We don't fight. And then another couple got up, Ralph and Arna, who are dear friends of ours. I know they're dear friends of yours. And they were talking about this fight they had had. And it wasn't like they hit each other or yelled at each other or said unkind things to each other. There was just this tension between them. They articulated it so clearly that the woman in the back of the room shot her hand up like it was, she had won something. She's like, we fight. We see it. It's not about fighting with your son or fighting with your
mom.
ex or fighting with your mom. It's that you fight.
That's cool. Yeah.
And
Thank
if
you.
see it without judging it, you don't have to do it. But if you judge fighting as not so good, you'll keep doing it.
Yeah.
And look at all the success and happiness and everything you've had, including all the fighting you've done. Maybe there's a whole other possibility.
Yeah, that's interesting. Great. Thank you.
You're so
You're
welcome.
welcome.
Thanks for being with us
Yes,
today.
thank you.
Thank
You know
you.
what I love about this?
No, tell me.
We start with that theme. That was easy. That was easy. And we have guests and we take the conversation where it leads us rather than trying to manipulate it
That's
into
right.
what we
No,
want.
I think you said it wrong. I think the conversation takes us where we need to go rather than we take it.
I thought that's what I said. The conversation takes us, but we don't try to manipulate. I may not have said it correctly, but
No,
it does. It takes us where we all need to go and we don't know. It's uncharted territory.
And it's all new.
It is. It super is.
Wow.
If you're enjoying this podcast, share it with your friends. Leave reviews, subscribe. You can also subscribe to our newsletter if you're not already. You get the visual version. You get videos with us. You get blogs written by us and incredible people in our community. And you can find out all about our courses also in the newsletter link at transformationmadeeasy.com. I think we're going to be ready for next week's episode.
Yeah, we will.
It's called
Lighten
Lighten Up. We'll be back next week.
So lighten up
Come on back.
and don't miss being here.